I hear criticism every single day. Laura's been critical of Sarah Palin. It's a very... Who's afraid of criticizing Sarah Palin? But this isn't that statement. That this is the Obama of the Republican Party. This is how pathetic it is and why you conservatives and Christians deserve better. You deserve leadership that enthuses you, that inspires you to have a dynamic where someone is like perplexed at inspiration and excitement tells you the condition of the party itself. That's only thing they've known is this mundane barf bag existence of sad sacks. And that's got to be the way that it is because that's how it's been. No, it doesn't have to be that way. And it's can change and be better for conservatism. And you can have enthusiasm for the wrong reasons, like with a guy who has no background and no history and was not vetted at all and started his career in the living room of a terrorist. It would be wrong to get excited and inspired by that. Or you can be excited and inspired after watching a woman for 3 years and with attempts to destroy her and her family, not only survive, but thrive, and do so without losing her soul. That is the difference. At no point, with everything that all of us do here on radio or in blogs or on television on Fox, Sarah Palin is the one person who has never sat down and talked smack about somebody else. The one person out of all of these people who handles herself with dignity and some level of grace is the woman who is constantly under attack. And people wonder why we're enthusiastic. In addition to, Ann Coulter apparently refuses, I'm told, to watch The Undefeated. Well, why? Why would she refuse to watch The Undefeated? I'll send her an email and ask her why she refuses to watch The Undefeated. Because this is about accomplishments. We all want, well, I'll play the rest of this because Laura and Ann agree at the end that we need somebody who can win the White House. Yeah, we sure do. So why don't we try the theory of somebody who's been vetted, who's honest, who has a track record, whose every single thing has been looked over, including their trash and every email for the last 5 years, whose husband and children are followed, whose special needs little baby is attacked on the internet, and the woman in the midst of this storm maintains her dignity. That's more than I can say, I think, probably for all of us, myself included.
You say her voice is a few octaves too high, or perhaps Michelle Bachmann's speaking voice is more modulated, and you will be inundated with enraged emails and letters.
And that's just because you and I have really low voices. Okay, so we can't boast the higher voice. But at some point, in all seriousness, I think the country's looking for, people like Palin. It's fine to show up at these events and whip up the crowd. There's a place for that, and I think we need
cheerleaders.
That. But people,
there's
when
a place
I talk
for
to them,
cheerleaders.
they seem to be desperate and hungry, more so than ever, for real substance.
Yeah, this is it. It's funny. So Palin, what do they think? They think that she was plucked out of Wasilla and is the cheerleader? I don't think Laura Ingram's seen The Undefeated either, because if she had, she wouldn't be making that comment. So the challenge is with these two women who, look, they're busy. Laura's got a career in running a business and has children and is doing television and radio and books. She is the queen of all media. Ann does the same thing, minus the children part. These are also two women who've made very different decisions like me. Neither are married. Ann has no children. Laura's expanded her world with the adoption of some obviously remarkable kids. They've made very different decisions than Sarah Palin. So here are two women who've made very specific decisions. This is the fabulousness of, frankly, being a woman in the 21st century. Women of my generation, and all four of us are within that generation, have made choices. And here are women who've chosen to focus on themselves, who have chosen, for whatever reason, to not marry, versus a woman who has married, has children, has had a career, and does not make a living, unlike myself, talking about other people. I make a living talking about other people. I make a living trying to explain for crowds what other people are doing and why they're doing it. I think there's a place for that, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing it. I'm still trying to make up for the fabulous work, obviously, that the left has done in brainwashing the right into believing that they don't deserve the best. Now, look, also, of course, Laura has to have her favorite at this point. Anne has her favorites in this race. This is politics. Politics is the pursuit of power. Politics is it should be the convincing of people, but it's also about the persuading of people and the frightening of people, getting people to surrender. You look at this as a war. Sometimes it's about who's going to win a battle. Other times it's going to be, can you scare the guy into surrendering? I don't blame him at all, but they have favorites. Of course they do. They're political, engaged women. They have favorites, and it's not Sarah Palin. And it's not her. So you can't get mad at them for that. And the difference is, can we do what we're doing? And this is, I think, also a disappointment because I don't think, again, for Anne and Laura, we know Anne has not seen the Undefeated and has refused to see it, according to what I'm told. If that's incorrect, I'm sure Anne, who knows how to reach me in every way on the phone and email and through Twitter, would tell me that that's not true. We know that Laura has, and this is just the governor's relationship with these women too, has had only nice things to say about them. Again, Governor Palin has had only nice things to say about everybody except those who are for sale politically, right? But she doesn't, there's not one point where you can go on television and see her going after somebody. You just won't see it. You know, even like with Laura Ingraham, I think at one point Laura had an auction for her charity, and the governor donated a signed jacket, which brought in $50,000 for Laura's charity. So I guess that's where being a cheerleader comes in, and that's okay. I look, they probably wonder what the hell it is I'm doing every day. They're also more successful than I am. That's the bottom line truth. They are. You could see that as being that I'm doing something wrong or not. But I'm sure they are perplexed at who the hell I am, what I'm doing, and why I do it. Sometimes I'm perplexed. But what's unacceptable indeed, or at least what should be the lesson for us, is for you, as I go back into what I do for a living, is for you to not be distracted. Because this is a great lesson very early on. They now know that you are part of the equation as a Palinista. They know it now. They know, and they saw those rallies, and those were spontaneous eruptions. I've always wanted Palin to be more organized on like rally sites and stuff. As a former organizer, community organizer myself, you see all kinds of options there. Even with the organizing that the TAMs had in Iowa, that was done by the TAMs. As with the banner and everything, which is great. I'm thinking there's so many opportunities and blah, 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 blah. And Palin just shows up. She's there, and she's there she gives her policy speech, and she's a policy wonk, and you can see the Undefeated and see her background in implementing policy and getting things done. Makes it a little bit more difficult to dismiss her as a cheerleader. You drop in to get a crowd riled up. You know, it's funny. I believe that you can actually have somebody who is an authentic conservative, perfect for this country, person who can beat Obama, and whom Americans can rally behind and be enthusiastic about. For some reason, as I've described to you, I'm being, facetious now, Republicans don't think you can have that combination. If you continue to think that you have to get the barf bag, because that's the only way for a pseudo-conservative to win the White House is to pander to liberals, you've been hosed. You've been had by the left. That is the ultimate success of theirs. Oh, you'll start hearing lamestream media praise of Rick Perry, Well, one, because he would be absolutely annihilated in a general election, but also because he's a liberal. Oh, they'd love Rick Perry to be the opponent to Barack Obama. Why would you elect the former campaign manager of Al Gore in Texas, Mr. Gardasil, Mr. Democrat, Mr. Open Borders, Amnesty? Why would you vote for that when you've got the same thing and it's a cultural icon? Why would you? Why? Oh, I can't wait. The debate tonight. Well, let's hope Perry's there.
Beyond kind of the sloganeering and the bumper sticker stuff and Obama's driving the country down, that's all good and that's all true. But that's why kind of like Paul Ryan or Chris Christie or even today Mitt Romney, I mean, his jobs plan that he laid out went after China, hit big on energy independence.
I'm wondering
it was
where
very
60
substantive.
is.
And I don't know if that's going to help him or not, but I think people want to chew over that stuff. She had to do more of that heavy lifting on the policy stuff, I think, to be taken seriously. I think she's not all that interested in it. And I like Sarah Palin, but I don't think she seems all that interested in digging really, really deep on that.
You know, it's funny. It's weird because Chris Christie also keeps getting brought up. And Sarah Palin's not a declared candidate for president. And if you go to her Facebook page, maybe you would see the 3,000-word pieces on Libya and the economy. Beginning with, by the way, her Facebook on dealing with the truth of Obamacare, the truth of the printing of money, of stimuluses, of the stock market, of foreign policy. I don't think that Ann and Laura go to read her policy pieces. And we know they haven't seen The Undefeated. But I'm wondering, why aren't they complaining about Chris Christie? I haven't heard what he thinks about Libya. I know that he didn't join the lawsuit against Obamacare. So I'm wondering, why is the same, it's funny, for a woman who has all those policy pieces, the same complaints aren't made about Chris Christie, who seems to be certainly at least Ann's darling. And if it's too late, if the train has left the station for Sarah Palin, why hasn't it left for Chris Christie? Or Paul Ryan? Or Jeb Bush? It's funny. Is the train only not for Sarah Palin? It's so weird how that's the case, isn't it? Keep those things in mind.
Stuff. That's just my sense.
No, I agree, and I think she's terrific at what she does. But I
ultimate
tend to agree with you as
the ultimate dismissal. And look, we'll say Ann, and I don't know Laura's background. I know Ann's upbringing was, let's just say, different than ours. Different than ours. She's fine for what it is that she does. So everybody's got their place, you see. And Sarah Palin's place is in the back of the bus.
I got sick of it with Newt Gingrich, too. You know, Fisher cut bait here because you are ginning up this group of Americans who will not even consider anyone else. You know, we used to all love Sarah Palin, conservatives like me.
There's the truth. And here comes the concern, the faux concern and the faux I supported her, but now I don't. Yeah. Let me go back to that's the real answer that Ann gives us about why everybody's getting mad and why they're now needing to. I don't know how going after Sarah Palin supporters, if Ann's concerned about what Sarah Palin supporters are going to do in the general, talking about them in a smack kind of way isn't going to be helpful. But here's one of the real reasons of what the GOP is so afraid of.
I got sick of it with Newt Gingrich, too. You know, Fisher cut bait here because you are ginning up this group of Americans who will not even consider anyone else. You know, we used to all...
Here's the answer to that for Ann and Laura and everybody else. Give us somebody who we can support. The answer isn't, this is the next in line, get your barf bag answer. If you don't think Sarah Palin supporters will vote for anybody else, what does that say about the everybody else? But the answer is not bringing up and making Mitt Romney human and finding a candidate who didn't used to be a campaign manager for Al Gore or one of the Bushes. I mean, come on. They are now dealing with the legacy of no leadership development because they were all liberals in the Republican Party and they didn't want to develop conservative leadership, leaving them holding the bag when Americans said, where are the conservatives? Well, apparently one was in Alaska.